What was a house rule you had as a kid that you thought was completely normal until you grew up and found out other families were horrified by it? When I was 7, I threw up in the school bathroom and cleaned it up myself so nobody would find out. I remember the taste of the pink hand soap I used to rinse my mouth. That morning before the bus, my mom had sat me down and said something I'll never forget. Nell, we don't get sick in this house. No complaining, no whining, no nurse's office. Bodies do whatever you tell them to do. People who get sick are people looking for an excuse to quit. I didn't really understand what she meant, but I nodded anyway. All day I sat at my desk, sweating through my shirt, watching a girl get walked to the nurse for a nosebleed and come back with a lollipop. I just sat there gray-faced like a little machine. When my mom picked me up and the school hadn't called once, she squeezed my neck and whispered, "That's my girl. Strong and quiet." I felt proud that I'd done something right. That became our family's unspoken rule for everything after that. When I got chickenpox, I wore long sleeves and told everyone it was a rash from the pool. When I fell off the monkey bars and my wrists swelled up purple, I taped it myself and it healed crooked. When I was 10 and ran a fever for 6 days straight, I did my homework on the bathroom floor because the tile was cool. My mom would always catch me if I started to crack. Once a broken pickle jar put glass straight through the bottom of my foot. There was blood down the whole hallway. My mouth opened to scream and she grabbed my jaw so hard it left 4 little bruises. Not a sound. She poured super glue into the cut, pulled a sock over it, and I limped for 11 days. She even threatened me once. I was 13 and I'd had a pain in my side for 4 days. By the 4th night, I couldn't stand up straight. And when she finally drove me to the ER, my appendix had already burst. In the parking lot, she turned around and hissed, "If you tell them this started 4 days ago, they'll take you away from me. And you'll find out real fast that nobody's coming for you. It started this morning. Say it." I said it. I said it to 2 nurses and a surgeon. For years, I thought every family was like this. Then in 9th grade, I slept over at my best friend Josie's house, and she woke up at 2 a.m. with a stomach bug. She didn't hide it. She walked down the hall and knocked on her parents' door. Within 5 minutes, her mom was on the bathroom floor with her, holding her hair back, saying, poor baby, I know." Her dad brought up a bucket and a can of ginger ale. Her little brother stood in the doorway, and I stood there in my sleeping bag doing math about how much trouble Josie was in. When her mom went for a towel, I leaned down and whispered, "You can still go back to bed. If you're quiet about it, she'll forget by morning." Josie looked up at me from the floor like I'd slapped her. "Why would I want her to forget?" she said. "I feel awful. Because if you're loud about it then." The words died in my throat. For the first time in my life, I looked around that bathroom and really saw what was happening. Nobody was being told to say it started this morning. A kid was sick and 3 people came running, and to all of them, it was the most ordinary thing in the world. I went home the next day and Googled, how often should a child go to the doctor? Every result listed things I had never once done. Any pain lasting more than 2 days. I felt like I'd been raised on a different planet by someone reading from the wrong book. In college, it all came apart. My roommate Mira got the flu in October, and her mother drove 4 hours with a cooler of soup and stayed the weekend. I watched from my side of the room like it was a documentary about a species I'd never seen. 2 weeks later, I got it. I hid it for 3 days, and on the 4th, I passed out in the hallway outside our room. I woke up with Mira's hand on my forehead, and she was crying, saying, "Why didn't you tell me?" And something in me just came apart. I cried for the chickenpox and the crooked wrist and the 6 days of fever on the bathroom floor. I cried for the glass in my foot and the 4 little bruises on my jaw. I cried for the 13-year-old lying to a surgeon in a hospital gown. And I cried hardest for a 7-year-old rinsing her mouth out with pink hand soap so nobody would ever find out she was hurting. The next time I went home, I told my mom all of it. How close I'd come to dying at 13 so she wouldn't look bad in a waiting room. She just looked at me with that flat expression and said, "If I'd let you lie down one single time, where would it have ended? You'd have spent your whole life on the floor waiting for somebody to come get you."